So let's get started today with Jigga. Let's get started with Jigga, man. So his case was dismissed, man. It when it comes to this, it was always a shaky situation when I heard this, you know, and I understand the whole thing about uh the victims, believing the victims, but sometimes you gotta call BS on some things, especially when you hear the story and stuff don't add up. Now that don't necessarily mean that that victim is lying, but it gives you the opportunity to take a step back, right, from certain things. Sometimes you got to take that step back. You can still support the victim, but sometimes you got to take a step back, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, me personally, I don't think this case should have ever been brought up in the first place. These sexual assault allegations against Jay-Z, uh, they lacked the evidence, and it just seemed real baseless. It seems Tony Busby, who was the Jane Doe's lawyer, was just out to try to get a bag from Jay-Z, Diddy, and this unnamed third party who was a female, right? Seemed like they were just trying to get the bag, man. That from the start, the case was on shaky ground. Allegations, they were serious. Like, it's no laughing matter. It was serious, but they lacked like the necessary evidence, to me, from what we gathered, from what we saw to hold up in court. When that Jane Doe, when she went on that ABC exclusive interview, man, and how inconsistent and how vague the statements were, it just weakened the case. You know what I'm saying? For me, it just made the case hella weak, man. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to break down why this case was flawed from the beginning and why it was probably ultimately dismissed, right? The lack of evidence. Let's start there. Lack of evidence. Now, when you bring a case of this magnitude, of this stature, you know what I'm saying, against a public figure like Jay-Z, you gotta have concrete evidence. Concrete, something, physical proof, eyewitness testimony, at least a compelling story. You know what I'm saying? A consistent narrative. It's got to be believable. You coming at somebody, I mean, really anybody, anytime something like this should happen, you got to have those things involved. If those things don't add up and don't match up, you know what I'm saying, you really can't do that. But from just listening to it from the start, it was holes and gaps in the story, in the case. Just didn't make sense. Nothing of it made sense. You know what I'm saying? The reports indicated there was no forensic evidence, right? Nothing of physical, nothing, no evidence there. And I know it's old. I know this was when the Jane Doe was allegedly 13 back in, I forgot what it was, 2000, what was it, 4 or 5? They said this is supposedly happened. But so you had no forensic evidence, nothing physical. There was no corroborating witnesses. The one witness who would be able to, or actually it would have been two. The two witnesses who would corroborate was the friend who took her to the VMAs. She's passed on. She's gone on to the elders and the ancestors or whatnot. And then the father. The father said he don't even remember what. That didn't happen, ain't. No, I've never done that. He said, I've never done that at all. I would have remembered driving five hours this way and 5 hours back. Right? Timeline of the events was murky. Well, what happened when they start placing the time and moving this way, that way, how long it takes to get from here to there? And you got to take into account traffic and changing of clothes and to get here, displaced on, just wasn't adding up. And in this case, the burden of proof was never met. It was never met, right? And the interview, this is to keep this going. The interview to me is what really laid everything out on the table. That interview really, really, really laid everything out on the table, right? So one of the biggest turning points in this whole thing is when she went and did that interview on ABC. Now, instead of providing some type of clarity, the interview raised even more doubts, right? Raised even more doubts. I mean, come on, man. You on national TV going up against Jay-Z, and your story is sounded bad. Didn't make no sense. None whatsoever. She struggled to provide like concrete details. Sometimes the responses seemed rehearsed, but they was inconsistent. Like how you got notes, but then you overtalk your notes or talk like this. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like it was rehearsed, but it wasn't. And I mean, did the lawyer even sit down with her before she went and did the interview? Did the lawyer sit down, did Tony Busby sit down with Jane Doe and say, hey, this is how we're going to, you know, the questions is to ask, here's a list of things and topics, stay on this, stay on these topics. Did he do that? Because it seemed like she was just in a freestyle. Seemed like she was just in a freestyle. And you know, the YouTube legal community, the law tube, you know what I'm saying? They started analyzing her statements. And I don't, not to say that you know what I'm saying, the YouTube law community is, I mean, some are lawyers and some aren't, but they are, to me, for me, a good barometer when looking at legal cases. So I go to them. But they started pointing out contradictions, things that weakened her credibility, right? She was getting cooked left and right. Left and right, she was getting cooked. And how the media handled the case, very, very questionable. Very questionable. Sensationalized headlines. They do this, though. They do this, especially to us black men, right? To us black men, they're going to sensationalize the headlines. You know how we covered the Jonathan Major story. And if it wasn't for us covering that Jonathan Major story and getting out the actual truth of what was going on behind those courtroom doors, what was really going on in court, people, how they was painting him and what the headlines and the bylines and the story was saying when it came to Jonathan Majors, they do the same thing here. And they always do that. That's how the media do. Especially if it's a black man up there. Sensationalized these headlines, man. Drove the story forward without giving any type of attention to the lack of proof. You read the article, they don't bring up stuff like that. Watch the news tape, they don't bring up stuff like that. How it seems shaky, there was no proof. She didn't have a lick of proof. That's the crazy thing. How you bring this up? You don't have a lick of proof. Nothing. You didn't have a picture. I took a picture of the VMAs with a Kodak camera from back in the day to at least show that you was there. Did you sign your name on a piece of paper? Did you check in anywhere? Nothing. No proof. How did this go forward? That's the bad thing. How did this even go forward, man? How did this go forward? Now, we're in an era where public opinion shapes legal battles. Everything is fought. And I mean, and it's always been like that. Public opinion shapes legal battles. You know, you see lawyers come out there and parade their client around for sympathy and stuff like that. But it's really, really at an all-time high now because of social media, because how fast news can travel. Right? News can travel in the blink of an eye because of social media. All I got to do is make a post, type it up, and boom, it's out there worldwide. you know? So it's what I would present is when doing these things, even if you're an independent journalist, you have to separate emotion from facts. Or if you're doing an op-ed piece, you can write with emotion, but you have to ladle it with facts. It's got to throw the facts in there. You can still feel how you feel. You can still have those emotions, but throw the facts in there. Let people know that, hey, this, and this is going on, though. I still feel such and such. You can do that. So you got to separate emotion from facts. You got to. Because that ABC interview, it was a clear indication that there was no factual foundation in nothing she said. After watching that interview, to me, whoever was the judge presiding over that case should have banged that gal pop, and called it a day. No, sir. What? Come on, man. Come on. You got to get stuff like that out of here. This is what I ain't even gonna go there. You just got to get stuff like that out of here. Because it's when stuff like that happens, man, it is dangerous. False accusations are dangerous. It's a critical issue. It's a false or unproven allegations, especially in these high-profile cases. It's real dangerous, real destructive. Because you bringing the allegation is the guilty verdict already in public opinion. Now I'm losing money, endorsements, yada, yada, yada. Might get fired. All from an accusation. I ain't even been found guilty of nothing, but I just lost all my livelihood because of this accusation. These things are serious, man. You can't just be bringing allegations up and not vetting them. And this is not me talking to the victims. If you're a victim of something, bring it up. If something really happened to you, bring it up. Go get your lawyer. If you're going to sue, go get your lawyer. Go to the police. Go where, you know what I'm saying? Go do what needs to be done. But if it's false, man. Because the thing is, they don't just harm the person who's being accused. It hurts the real survivors, the real victims. Especially in this this is high profile. So this gets out there, and then the people of the world, they mind get, you know what I'm saying? They start thinking about, oh, they just in it for the bag. Oh, she just trying to get his money. Especially when they suing with these civil suits. Especially when they suing with these civil suits, because it's not criminal. So it seems like you just out to get the money. Cases being brought up like these, it can distract and take away from legitimate claims, legitimate people who got hurt, and create unnecessary division in the conversations that be had in the justice system, and accountability, in relationships, all types of things. Y'all, if you was following this case, you saw the discourse that was out there surrounding Jay-Z. Now that he's had this dismissed, he's suing. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Nah, you messed up." Because it not like I said, it didn't only just hurt him; it hurt his family. His daughter had a premiere for Mufasa. Did that hurt the Mufasa premiere? Did it hurt her because it trickled down from him to her? Father to daughter, you know what I'm saying? Having a bad aura around you, a cloud on you like that, being placed on you with an alleged false allegation, that goes to everything. That spreads out. It spreads out. At the end of the day, to me, this case should have never been brought into the light without the proof to bring it to light. The fact that it made the headlines and the rounds with so little evidence speaks to a bigger issue to me. As I come into this journalism thing and I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, be this independent journalist that I am and give y'all the things that I want to give y'all, it's crazy how media outlets push certain narratives without scrutiny. They push it without checking and double checking to make sure they got the facts straight. Because they just want to be first. That's the thing. They want to be first. Instead of wanting to be right and getting the facts out there, they want to be first. Oh, I got the first click. I'm good. We good now. We Gucci. To me, it ain't about being first. It's about being right. It's about supplying the people with the right information so they know how to take from it and move accordingly. So, yeah, I want to applaud Jay-Z for getting this case dismissed. That, like I said, it should have never been brought out. I don't know what effect this will have on Diddy because he was also named in this, even though now that the whole case is dismissed with prejudice, was mean it's can't be filed anymore. Can't bring that back. You can't come back later and try to bring this back up. It's dismissed with prejudice because there was not enough there. Regardless of how I feel about P. Diddy, I do think there's a lot of fake claims on his name right now. Think a lot of people just trying to eat off of certain things we did. We still haven't I haven't seen any evidence when it comes to, and I'm not saying this that I support Diddy, because we did see him what he did to Cassie. We saw that. We saw that live and in monochrome, right? But all of this other stuff, I'm still waiting on the evidence. I know it's a federal case, but it's crazy that it's a one-man RICO. That's crazy to me. A one-man RICO is wild. But is what it is, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about Jay-Z having his case dismissed. Let me know how y'all feel about sensationalized headlines without facts. Sensational headlines without facts. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know.